What really makes us happy? It's not the quick dopamine hits from social media, not money beyond a certain point, and not even success. The secret to long term happiness isn't a secret at all, it's science. Researchers Edward Deci and Richard Ryan spent decades studying what truly drives human fulfillment. And they discovered three key psychological needs that, when met, create real happiness. Today, we're breaking down the self determination theory, the science of motivation and well being, and how you can apply these three core principles to your life right now. So, let's dive in. For years, people thought happiness was about external achievements like wealth and power and status. But research in psychology and neuroscience shows that happiness isn't about what you have, it's about how you experience life. So, the self determination theory explains that humans have three basic needs that, when fulfilled, lead to deep and lasting happiness: autonomy, competence, relatedness. Think of it like a three legged stool. When one is missing, your happiness becomes unstable, but when all three are present, you experience true fulfillment. The three core needs for happiness. So let's break down these three legs, so to speak. Autonomy is about feeling like you are in charge of your decisions rather than being controlled by external pressures or somebody else. Studies show that people who have a sense of autonomy in their work and relationships report having higher levels of happiness and well being. This doesn't mean doing whatever you want whenever you want. It means having the ability to make choices that align with your values. Now, the reality is that we can't control external circumstances. And that is our basic need, right? Is to have control of our life or some kind of control where we're not losing ourselves. So, this is why autonomy is a huge basic need for us. But we have to be able to differentiate what is in our control and what simply is not in our control. Because when we have a false impression of what's we think is in our control, then we get a little disappointed. And that's where our happiness, our well being, our insecurities kind of go awire and in the opposite directions. So, how do we cultivate autonomy? So, start by asking yourself, am I making choices that align with my values? So that's also being congruent with yourself. Like, are you behaving in a way that aligns with your value system, your internal needs, who you are as a person? And to be able to align yourself, you got to know yourself. And that's why I've said the best education, I say this over and over again if you haven't heard this before, the best education you'll ever have is to know yourself. So, to achieve that autonomy, to achieve any of these three things of the self determination theory, you got to know yourself. And I've got plenty of videos for you to continue watching and information on my website as well. So, going back to the autonomy and cultivating that autonomy, we want to set some small boundaries to reclaim control over your time and your energy. So you feel like you have some control of your life, you know. So we want to prioritize activities that give you a sense of ownership over your life. So the second one is competence, the need to feel capable and accomplished. We are wired to seek growth, not to stay and settle for the status quo. That is where we start to feel unfulfilled. Competence is about feeling like we're developing skills and making progress in areas that matter to us. We want to feel capable at things that matter to us. Psychologists found that people who engage in activities that challenge them, whether it's learning a new skill, improving at work, or exercising, experience a greater sense of fulfillment. So it's not about being perfect, but about feeling like you're improving. And I love this quote from Marie Forleo: progress, not perfection. Very important because as humans, We're just not perfect. And we need to feel competent. And in a sense, that might feel like, oh, I need to be a perfectionist or I need to get this absolutely right. But the sense of capacity, the sense of experience, getting more practice into something that we want to feel capable at. And we start to feel really insecure when we head into realms where we don't feel that capable, right? So somebody, let's go a little bit more nuanced, right? So somebody might have a really difficult time talking about feelings or listening to somebody else's feelings, right? That feeling capable is not showing up, and that might raise some tension, some anxiety. And so that is why when we practice something, we can start to feel capable with it. So, how do we cultivate competence? So, pick one small thing to improve at each week. That's your challenge for you after watching this video. It can be as simple as cooking a new recipe or reading about a topic that interests you, but try to improve each week just one small thing. Now, I want you to celebrate your small wins instead of waiting for huge milestones because it might feel like, well, I didn't really do much. We kind of undervalue some of the things that we are capable or able to do. So try to look out for those small wins, not just in yourself, but in the people you care about too. So if you see somebody do something that might have been hard for you or just under the circumstances, no matter how small it is, like that's really big of you. Look at you. You were able to handle this considering the circumstances and the situation you're in a really mature way. So there's many ways that you can celebrate small wins for yourself and for others that you care about. And next, challenge yourself with stretch goals, tasks that push you just outside your comfort zone, but still are achievable. So just think about that one thing you're going to work on each week and try to stretch it a little bit every time, or just see what you can measure and where you can stretch yourself. The third is relatedness, the need for connection and belonging. Humans are social beings. We need meaningful relationships to thrive. Studies show that people with strong ties live longer, experience less stress, and report higher life satisfaction. Relatedness isn't about the number of relationships you have, it's about the quality of your connections. So, how do we cultivate this relatedness? Because deep down, I'm sure as you're listening to me, your gut feeling is like, yeah, I don't like feeling lonely, right? I do want to have one strong connection and I want to feel valued in that strong connection. And I want the other person to feel valued as well. So if you're going to take anything from this video, listen to this part. Relatedness isn't about the number of relationships you have. It's about the quality of connections you have. So how do we cultivate relatedness? We're going to prioritize face-to-face interactions, even if it's just a short coffee date or a phone call. We're going to express appreciation. Small gestures of gratitude strengthen your relationships. And then we're going to join a community, whether it's a hobby group, a volunteer organization, or an online space that aligns with your values. How do you apply the self-determination theory in your life? Now that you know the three pillars of happiness, how do you apply them? So here's a quick challenge I have for you. This week, choose one area to focus on: autonomy, competence, or relatedness. Take one small action that strengthens that area in your life. I'm sure as you've learned and heard me through these three things and these three pillars, you're starting to pay attention and evaluate for yourself. Well, I'm really strong on that one, but that other one I could work on, or it's almost non-existent. So there's long as we're working on all three and have those in place, we're going to reach that fulfillment, that happiness, and thrive. So I just want you to focus on one for now if you feel like there's one that you think needs a little bit of work. So here's some examples. So for autonomy, say no to a commitment that drains you. I have another video on how to say no without guilt that you can watch, and the link will be below. On competence, set a 15-minute timer and practice something new. For relatedness, reach out to someone you care about and just to check in to see how they're doing. So here's the final takeaway. Happiness isn't about chasing success or avoiding discomfort. It's about creating a life where you feel in control, capable, and connected. That's the science of well being. And the best part that you can start today. If this resonated with you and you want to learn more, go to lucindaloveland.com and sign up for brilliant insights. Now, don't forget to subscribe for more insights on mental health, psychology, and personal growth. I'll see you next time.